Hi, how are you? You are on mute.
Hi, I am awesome. How are you?
I'm great and blessed. You're looking good.
Thank you. Feeling good.
Yeah. I'm waiting for you to dial in,
Okay,
then we
cool.
can start.
Okay, cool bananas. I'm gonna turn off my video because I've got noise behind me here. My wife
Yes.
is working me with me, and I'm gonna turn on mute. But I'm
Hi, Andre and William. Thank you for joining in. It doesn't look like there are other people that are coming to join. Maybe the timing is not right as everyone is at work right now. Um, However, I just wanted to cover the issue of or the topic of how then do we use technology to unleash the power of women to transform Africa. So that was what was the conversation was going to be about. But what we'll do, I will do a recorded message, and then we'll look at the right time where we'll get the right audience, or we'll get the better audience. I can't hear you.
Hang on a second. You've got an audience. So do your
I,
recording now. I didn't book this time to waste it. I'm here to listen to you. You sing, baby. I'm listening.
Thank you. um, yeah, welcome to Let's Talk Digital with Veronica and Happy Women International Week. We are excited that the rights of women are being recognized and women are encouraged to challenge the status quo. And I hope we'll see more and more women coming into the digital space. As we all know, the statistics, women are still less represented in the sector, and those who are active in the sector, they don't do the things that they are supposed to do. So it is important that we have this conversation as women in digital to say that how do we close the gender gap? There've been a lot of discussions, there've been a lot of forum, but practically, what are the things that we have to look at ourselves that hinders us to operate at a strategic level, to operate at a level whereby we can see an impact? And how do we bring others along on this journey? And how do we remove obstacles for ourselves as well as our others? And then how do we then deal with setback? How do we deal with failure? How do we look at those as a setback? Is it when a setback comes, do you give up? Or do you say it's one of those challenging moments? Let me stick it on and make sure that I come back very strong. So those are the discussions that I really wanted to talk about before we go into the deep technical issues of digital, before we go into Internet of Things, data analytics, low code development and everything. What are the things that really hinders us to be great? You know, what can we do to unleash that greatness? And for me, and this is a conversation, by the way, for me, it's understanding who you are and be comfortable with who you are. We allow people to define ourselves, to put label on us, and that put doubts in our self-worth. And it's very important that, first of all, you know why you are here and who you are, and why are you in this space. You know, is it by choice? Is it by accident? And there's nothing like an accident, because everything happens for a reason, you know. And now that you are here, how do you make sure that you continue to excel? How do you gather resources to ensure that you excel? And that's the conversation really I wanted to have. And feel free to jump in, especially in the topic of defining who you are and why you are here, because we don't usually start with the why. And if we fail to start with the why, we get to a point whereby we are taking all over the place, and without really sticking it out. So for me, that is the important thing, to understand who you are and why you are here. And most importantly, why are you in this space? Why are you in digital? Why are you in this sector? And the second thing that you are here is that, how do you stay in the sector? Okay. What are the things that will cause you to stay and never give up? Because it can be difficult, and it is important to have a purpose. A purpose will make sure that you stay in this sector, you transform, you look at opportunities not only in South Africa, but across the continent. what we have done is that we have limited ourselves to geographical boundaries. We don't see what value we can add into the continent. We don't visit other countries in the continent to go and identify opportunities for us to really transform. And the other part is around the partnership. We women, we struggle to collaborate and partner for success. And for you to remain in this industry, it's about the partnership, partnering with other women, partnering with OEMs, partnering with other companies so that you can deliver value and services within the industry to your customers and whoever you are taking care of. So collaboration for me is a big thing, and we don't do it very well. The fourth thing that I really wanted to touch on is the whole idea of dealing with setbacks. Most of the women that I know in the industry have went through some disappointing moment. They've been pushed out in their position. They've went through a lot. And then what is the comeback strategy? How do you make sure that you remain relevant even after those setbacks? And for me, the important thing is to understand that everything happens is for a season. Nothing is permanent. You might go through this process, which is not nice, but it won't be permanent. And when you operate with an idea and understanding that nothing in life is really permanent, and today things might be bad, but tomorrow, things might change and will change, not might. So you need to have that real understanding that things will definitely change, and they will change for the better. It will only change for the better when you have confidence in yourself, when you want to do the right thing and in the right way. Another question that I received from some of the audience who wanted to be here is around funding. We all know that funding is a challenge, but I always tell people that you have to be in to find opportunities. I went into a space whereby I invest in other companies. I didn't know about mergers and acquisition. I didn't know about corporate finance. All I knew was IT. But I realized that I needed to be in that space and surround myself with people in that space who will teach me and open up my eyes so that I can be able to play into that space. Because as women, we must start buying companies. We don't just build, but we need to come to a point whereby we buy companies. So it's very important to surround yourself with people who've got that knowledge, who've got that capability, that they can impart it to you. You don't only have to associate yourself with only women in ICT and women in digital, but expose yourself to other groups of women with the certain skills that you want to grow yourself or your business. So I will just end it there for today or for now, and then I will just entertain any question, any comment from why am I here? How do I stay in where I am? And what are the other things that I need to do to make sure that I'm relevant?
Fantastic. So you asked why are you here? So I thought I'd answer that. Okay. I joined the talk because one, let's talk digital. But, I have something to say about digital.
Yeah.
Let me go and talk. Number two, it's Veronica Motloutsi, who I've had the pleasure of working with professionally, and I've seen you play in the architecture game in a big corporate, and I thought, oh, we've worked together before. I know her. Let me go and talk there. And number three, this company you run, Smart Digital Solutions, has been something that I've been watching. And I've heard you talk at a few events. I thought, oh, let me join. So why am I here? I have something to say about digital. I know you, Smart Digital Solutions, the company, and I've seen you play in the architecture space as a professional, and that got your credibility high. So let me tell you what I wanted to say about digital. I studied computer science for the first time in 1987 at Wits.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm an old man. I was born in the 60s. William, if you are then an old man, hey, make sure I'm not the only old man here. But I learned to do something with computers, which was create computer programs when I was a student. So my first engagement with digital was creating digital solutions.
Yes.
And I learned through trial and error how to do that. But, back when I was 18 studying computer science at Wits University, learning Pascal precisely from Julie Bishop, as a 52-year-old, I'm no longer creating programs. Now I'm a consumer of digital solutions. I consume digital. And let me be clear about what I mean by I consume digital. I drink water, I consume water. I drink milk, I consume milk. I consume ones and zeros.
Yes.
So all of a sudden, where I went from learning to tell a program, a computer what to do, I am now speaking to you digitally right now. I'm speaking to you digitally because I'm logged on to my laptop, which is using a fiber connection, a platform called Zoom, an operating system called Windows, and I'm talking to you. I'm conversing with you as part of my consumption. But I go more than converse, I consume because I speak digital now. I no longer I listen digitally. I mean, Veronica, I watch your WhatsApp status. I'm watching you digitally all the time. I'm listening to you across so many platforms. The LinkedIn platform, I'm listening to you. I listen to you on Facebook. I listen to you on Twitter. I listen to you on Instagram. Hell, sometimes I listen to you just on YouTube because you put something there. But now I'm consuming digital by being a digital listener. I'm listening on a multitude of platforms where you choose to put content. Other than listening to you, I'm doing something else. I'm acting digitally in multiple ways. I am producing in this conversation everything I think I put into the cloud. I make it digital. I speak on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, Zoom, GitHub. I speak on a number of platforms depending on the role and what I'm trying to converse. But more than that, I consume so much. I read everything nowadays on my iPad using iBooks. I read my books digitally. I buy the Audible books and through the Audible.com listen to the books digitally. I've changed the way I think, say, and do things in the physical world from my pencil and my book to being a digital citizen. So when you say, let's talk digital, I read digitally, I listen digitally, I speak digitally, I write digitally. I mean, I send voice notes these days on WhatsApp, Telegraph, or whatever the messaging platform is. But all of a sudden, this transition of Andre, the human being, to Andre, the digital being,
and the question
is the practice of my life.
And the question is that you consume, and how do you create opportunities here to make money? Because we consume, and we consume a lot of stuff, right? And when you started, you said you were creating, you used to create. What you are consuming, who created what you are consuming, and then how do you what is the opportunity to make money? And some of the things that we have to talk about says, where are the opportunities? Where do we find the solution so that people can continue to consume?
Veronica, digitally, I ran a conference last year for the Congress for Business and Economics, an organization in Joburg. None of their members during the lockdown, as it started, knew how to come onto Zoom. So I ran the conference for them. And with my Zoom license, I got all of their members' cell phone numbers, and I started WhatsApping them, saying, we're running a conference, please come and join. It was teaching the community in the CBE environment how to use TERS, how to access the unemployment benefit, that were being offered by the government. Do you know, just with my Zoom license and in running that conference for them digitally, I charge them money?
Mm.
I use Zoom to run a conference for people, but people don't know how to run a conference on Zoom. I know how. I made money by bringing a digital conference to bear. I'll give you another example. An organization was trying to transform their teaching from classroom-based, flip chart fit, to Zoom-based. I ran the project to help them digitize their people, places, content, and methods, and I charged them for the running of that project. This curation that we do in digital, this conversation we do in digital, this creation we do in digital, it turns into work that I charge money for. So you ask me opportunities. How do people create opportunities before there was digital? Mama used to go there and sell fat cook on the side of the road and make sure that people were buying fat cook from her there, because food was a need. People have a need. People have a need to learn in the digital space. People have a need to read. I mean, I could sell you a book right now. If I get you to pay me, send me an e-wallet, FNB, simple. I can send you the book. The opportunities for how we run the world, transact in the world, earn a living for our livelihoods. It's just starting to happen in the digital space. And this is the thing. When you talk about, let's talk digital, tomorrow is going to be digital. What do we need to do today to prepare ourselves so that we've paid the price for tomorrow? There's a good book by Jeff Booth I recommend. Because I use tomorrow as the opportunity. So to answer your question, what's the opportunity? Tomorrow is the opportunity. Only I'll be doing it on the digital domain, not in the physical world. So everything is an opportunity.
Exactly. And do we find time whereby, or do you find yourself going into other countries, you know, and looking for opportunities? If you look at some of these platforms and designed somewhere else, and they come here, we consume. You know, how do we, you know, you've addressed one part, is that with all these technologies that are available, you are able to monetize them, which is very important. And now I'm moving the conversation to say that all these platforms, some of them are not created in our continent, and they don't really meet our needs. We have to adjust ourselves to fit into their design, you know. So we need to get to a point where we think about how do we create solutions that are relevant to us, you know, as Africans, and how do we then go out there into the continent, whether via technology or physically there, to understand all these opportunities so that we can solve our problems, you know, using digital technologies, is something that we have to really think deeply about, because we cannot just consume everything that is just thrown to us. Yes, we can monetize it, but there come a point whereby we have to create solutions for ourselves that are relevant to us, that will allow us to leapfrog and lead and compete with the likes of Zoom, you know. So I think that's another area that we really have to talk about, to say, and how do we collaborate with people who are in other countries using this, the same thing, the way we are. You know, there's an opportunity for us right now to start something beautiful with this conversation, right? Because there's a technology. There are two people who are passionate about technology, who wants to change people's lives using technology. So we could start something creative in terms of content. But what about the product that we can create to enable people to do the same thing that we are doing? So those are the things that we also have to think about.
So I'd like to give William an opportunity to bring his voice into the space before I offer an answer.
William?
Good afternoon, everyone. Hi, Andre. Hi, Veronica. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I mean, Veronica, I've known you for quite some time, and I've been working with you for the past 5 years or so. In my career path, I was actually in the field of accounting, and since I've started working with you, my mindset have now been shifted into the digital space, into the IT. I mean, I'm consuming each and every day when I'm with you. I'm learning quite a lot, and for the opportunity that you have given me, I'm very much thankful. I mean, I'll still keep working with you until I'm at the level that you are in terms of the IT. And yeah, no, I think we're doing very well in the space, especially more as a woman in this industry. I give you a thumbs up.
Thank you. Thank you. So yeah, Andrew, do you want to jump in there and give us your peace of mind in terms of what we can do, and William can also add?
So I agree that Africa must take its place, and Africans, specifically women such as yourself, must take their place in creating digital economies.
Yeah.
But why try to compete to create things that are already created? That's a waste of time.
I hear you.
I don't compete with people who are better than me. I'd rather take what they do and make it better. So where are the big needs in South Africa and in Africa today that can serve mankind, where we use digital to create that service? One is energy. Energy is big, right? Everybody needs energy. Everybody needs power. And lo and behold, we will get to a point in this country where when Eskom can't provide, the municipalities can't provide, we'll provide it to ourselves without waiting for anybody in government or Eskom or that ecosystem to provide. So how can we use digital to bring power supply to bear? There are wonderful use cases happening throughout Africa where people are putting in solar with the Internet of Things around it to make sure that security is managed, to make sure that supply is managed, where we put some SIM cards on the solar panels so that if they steal them, they can't move them. I'm using digital on a solar pad now, and where I get a system of inverter batteries creating power supply, where with digital, I can do, like I do prepaid electricity or prepaid airtime, prepaid digital solutioning for power. Can you imagine if we removed power supply from Eskom and created a prepaid power solution for Africa that people couldn't steal and people used to fund their lives? We could solve power. Water is another key opportunity where people in the rural areas are not getting the supply of water. There are digital solutions being built right now, and I can give you the use cases. I'll mention the company names if you allow me to, where we can use water. Now, we solved using digital to supply energy and water. What else are the human needs we as Africans need? We need education. So if I've got water, I've got power on a prepaid basis, how might I acquire education in the rural areas to solve the education of me, the parent, and my children so that we can be part of this fourth industrial revolution using digital? I can go on. Every human need gets solved with digital. And let's not try to beat and re-innovate what has been innovated. Let's take that innovation, stick it into our value chain, and solve our own needs. So to my answer to you, forget about creating what the others have created. No, man, just copy and paste to solve our needs in Africa. Because if we do that, we might deliver this thing that I still hold on to, a better life for all. Digital, if you understand the use case, if you understand the technologies of the Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, robotics, power, etc., digital can lift the poverty that we see in this country, provide a better life for all, and solve one key problem: economic growth. You see, the one thing that I am fascinated by, I sell this product called Give Yourself a Job. I'm now selling it, Give Yourself a Job with digital. We must use this digital wave to escape this corruption of not providing a better life for all. For me, the corruption is not keeping the promise, a better life for all. Forget what Judge Zondo and the friends are saying. This dream, a better life for all. I'd like to hear from you and your audience. How do we bring digital to bear to keep the promise, a better life for all? Because there, I think we must create the breakthrough thinking required.
I think I've got an answer for that, but I just want to welcome those who have joined in now. And please jump into the conversation, or we're talking all things digital. And the topic that we are covering now is that, yes, we are consuming technology and we are able to monetize technology, but what about the creation of new digital technologies to solve our African problem? And Andre also has posed us, gave us a challenge to say that electricity will be a problem in the next 3 years, that we know. Water is already an issue. You know, it's only few countries in Africa where you can drink water from the tap. So there's a problem. What are the purification technologies and everything that we can think about to change the life of our people? And the other thing is technology, it's corruption. Corruption, you can define it in different ways. You can define it in different ways. But the most important thing is that how do we stop it? And I think it's through BI and measurement. Can you just hold on a second? Andre, can I allow you to continue with the conversation? I just had an emergency. Just hold on.
William, bring your voice in, man. I'm saying too much. I'm trying to be an audience here, not a speaker.
Apologies about that. There was my son fell. Apologies, sincere apologies. So what I'm thinking about, we are evaluating as a company a digital technology on education to ensure that education is consistent throughout the continent. Okay, we were testing the platform yesterday. We engaged different partners, and I think this will be a game changer. You know, to say that as African, how do we define education? What are the different methods of learning? And what are the access points? We are looking at that in terms of changing the face of education in Africa using digital technologies. In terms of corruption, you know, the problem in many nations, we don't have measurement platforms. We don't measure what we promise. You know, this year we promise this, next year we promise the same thing, the following year we promise the same thing. So the moment somebody can develop a measurement tool to measure whether all these things that are promised have been delivered, you know, and how these promises get rolled over to another year, then we will then begin to see people delivering services to their communities. It starts there. We don't have the true platforms to engage those who make those promises. You know, we are dependent on Twitter, which can be a one way. You know, so somebody might need to look at what is the better collaboration between the community and their leaders to hold them accountable. So that's another, for me, an opportunity to change the face of Africa, because most of our leaders in Africa have a serious problem. Corruption is one of them. We're looking at other technologies to roll out, and something that I'm doing with William also, to roll out fiber on the power lines, partnering with an international company that has a technology, and engaging with ESCOM to say, how then do we use the power line to roll out fiber without really depending on a spectrum, without depending on these other telecommunication companies. So there are so many opportunities out there, but it takes it takes a leader to be able to come out of their comfort space and say, what are the things that I can do for my continent and for my country? And those are some of the stumbling blocks that we have to remove so that we can take our continent forward. Zintle, do you want to come in? Ntsiki? It's a conversation.
Good afternoon, Veronica. Thank you for the invite. And good afternoon to the guest who's presenting. You know, it's so funny that I come in and you're talking about educational digital solutions. And this is what I was drafting this morning for my, offerings. That in not even going deeper in Africa, just in my country here in South Africa, their remote areas. My cry was that even at this time of the pandemic, not even the high school ones, the youth is in their own space. They can't even access the forums that we are in now to bring them in and help them. And we are inviting them to Zoom. They don't even have this data to come to Zoom. They don't even have the appliances. They don't even have anybody to help them to be on Zoom. So I'm really drafting this. How do I take education where it is needed? Because I'm in the education space in leading, training and development. Now, even thought of coming down to the levels that we have left long time ago. We are in the corporate, we're doing this, and yet we are looking into getting prepared leaders or entry level of these young ones when they get to their workspace, but they've not been prepared. And I looked into a program where I can start coding with even the little ones, how we can help them through with coding and to be, I think here in South Africa, they call it mastermind. When we teach our children to be at the level that you are now, digital space, you understand very well, it's your playground. But I'm not there, but I want to bring it in, looking into, the trucks that can drive, we can drive them around as mobile school. So I was looking into that, but now it needs lots of components that exactly are talking about. Inside that, even if I take it to the people, I need the digital, apparatus inside. That when I go and teach in a rural area, what they cannot come and get in the urban area, inside that mobile class, there should be all digital apparatus that when I operate there, I should not be distracted because I want to take the education in a mobile, like a mobile train. I take it there. We station there for some time. We give them what they cannot get in the rural, from the urban areas so that they can be on par. Mandela comes from a deep, deep rural area, but he could lead here because he got the access. How can I take this with this digital digitalization now we are talking about in education in my mobile class to take it down there?
I think that's an interesting challenge, because I think what we have identified is that there's an issue of access. There's an issue of access, particularly in a rural area, And access, we're talking about one, connectivity. Access, we are talking about two, devices, which are very expensive for our children. So those are the things that we have to look at to say, how do we then ensure that everyone, every citizen in this country get the same quality of education, irrespective of where you are. But we need to now overcome the issue of broadband. We need to overcome the issues of a device. Today, if we have to buy a charger for your cell phone, do you know how much you are paying? Which also lasts for 3 months. You pay about 199, 200 just for the charger for your cell phone. Andre?
You know, it's interesting. We live in a country where we are growing our social impact through social grants. We're growing it. So I asked the question, why can't we, instead of giving our citizens a fish, why can't we give them a fishing rod? Do you know?
Because politics.
Do you know that in Gauteng, the Gauteng provincial government had a program called Gauteng Online, where they went into schools, they put the devices, they put the connectivity. Millions was spent. Millions. When it was there, you know what we, the citizenry of the country, did? We didn't know how to use it, let alone how to use it to teach with it. Let me tell you what happened. In a lot of the cases of Gauteng Online, the smart whiteboards, the computer labs, the connectivity, the video cameras, our communities destroyed them themselves. Now, I'm not saying that, okay, all communities are like that. South Africans are actually creators, not destroyers. Let me tell you, we created the new country. But here's where legislation and we, the citizenry, must tell these elected fellows that we put into power, stop giving me a grant and give cheap smartphones for 200 Rand to every child. Start giving these children this smartphone with 1 or 2 gigabytes every month of connectivity on a network. Now we've given the device and the connectivity. Now let's make sure we install on there how you use it. Let's make sure that the SIM card cannot be removed from the device. So that if anybody steals that child's cell phone, we switch it off and it can never be changed to be used by the person thieving. You see, the risks associated, with putting the infrastructure in place, we can solve those risks. If they steal the child's cell phone, we give them another one. This one here, it will never be used again. So that they learn, if you steal it again, you're stealing a second phone, it's never going to work. But we haven't taken a risk-based approach to the way we put infrastructure and connectivity into the hands of our people. So I think, Veronica, if you want to talk digital, forget the government. Let's not even rely on them as a source of inspiration for our future, because they used to be a source of my inspiration in the days when I was growing up and screamed Amandla. Now I discount them. I discount them totally. But get this. If we have a social state, then the social state must provide the infrastructure for our youth and our people. Why not, instead of giving person a social grant, give every South African a cell phone, give every South African connectivity? Because trust me, if the government makes that decision, that every citizen can talk digitally, the unit cost per person will be less than 250 Rand a person, Veronica. But now we're talking about inclusion, not exclusion. We're talking about a post-apartheid South Africa where we stop this bullshit about not allowing our people to be part of a country and its execution.
So understandable, and you made a very clear point that we need to also see how we democratize some of this access to technology, which is very important, and not relying on government. But the reality is that I can have my device on an empty stomach, how does it help? And now another challenge is that how do you teach me? How can we teach our people to use technology to make money so that they don't have to rely on
I disagree.
government
Not make money. You see, this is the problem. We are chasing the wrong thing. Money. You said it. What's the opportunities? Let's use technology to supply our own water, our own energy, our own food, our own education, our own. Because you see this thing called money. It has been proven to be why the world is divided. Fiat currencies. Oh, the dollar, the yen. Wars have been started for this thing, man. Wars. But digital currency, Bitcoin and the like, there's no wars yet. None whatsoever. So you see, let's talk digital. Veronica, I think you must bring and raise the conversation to beyond make money, to how do we solve for our human needs with digital.
Yes,
because money is not the thing that solves. But I don't need money for food when I can go to the backyard and go and harvest my cabbage, harvest my spinach, harvest my potatoes, we must get the world with digital to solve for the needs of humanity, not the greed of humanity, the needs of humanity. So I think that's where the conversation must go. Because if we keep trying to solve money, let me tell you what will happen. What has been happening for centuries. Apartheid wasn't about skin color, it was about money. Politics is not about who you vote for. Politics is about money. Let's be clear. Politics is to make sure those that have, keep it. Those that don't have, never get it. That's my experience with politics. So digital must bypass politics, bypass governments, bypass money, and talk about how do we address the needs of mankind.
I think, I agree with you. And you spoke a lot about how do we use technology to address the needs of mankind, and how do we build those solutions, and most importantly, how do we fund that solution? Because knowledge is power, knowledge is key, but how do we then have access to funding? We've got crowdfunding platforms. We can come together as a community and do this as a community. There are many ways to skin the cat, but the most important thing is that we as innovators, we have to also know how to gather funding to do some of this work, because yes, there are things that can be easily done, but there are things that will require monetary investment to get them right, to solve all those challenges. And those are the things that maybe in our next session we need to look at them, that how do we practicalize all this thing? How do we realize this thing, and what is it that needs to be put in place to get it going? It's something that I really want to talk about, because we have identified the need for technology to solve African problems, human problems. Now, how do we build on this and making sure that we are able to deliver on that? Nziki has ideas. William is learning a lot on digital, and at some point we want to solve these problems as well. We've got Zindle on the platform, Tebuho, and we'll want to say now, how do I realize this thing that I want to build for my people, for my community, because I cannot rely only on government.
Do you know, Veronica, it's interesting. I love what you're saying. And in Nsiki, do you know, if you look at money is a form of value that we use to acquire resources. Do you agree? What are the resources we buy using money? Let me tell you what I use money for. I use it to buy time from certain people. They sell me their time when I give them money. It's called employment. I also use money to buy information.
When
I pay for my university studies, when I buy a book, when I pay for subscriptions, I use money to buy information. Look at what money is giving me. Resources, time, and information. Money also allows me to have access to the right relationships. But notice today, Ntsiki, I don't know who you are, Ntsiki Nkoko, but because I have a relationship with Veronica, you have access to a relationship with Andre.
Yeah.
Money also gives me access to opportunities. But notice that the opportunity to supply education to children with digital doesn't need money. Intellectual capital gives me money. Networks give me money. I buy with money. Do you know assets? Assets, houses, cars, cell phones. I get them using money. What if I said to you, you could get all those resources without money? Would you trade the money for the access to the resources, or do you still want the money?
But for me to build all these things, I need to pay my people, which is money.
Veronica, I run a company called Business Transformation Design, where people from around the world give me their time, information, intellectual capital, access to their networks, resources, and I don't pay them R1 or $1. They do it because they are good human beings who want to make a difference. The difference is I have access to them digitally, and I have the tools to connect to them digitally, which is why I say the human right must be give the people the digital resources, the device, the connectivity. And then you know what? All of a sudden, money is not important. I can show you a woman by the name of Jennifer Bonin, who on Saturday gave me, out of a company in the US, Redrex, a digital classroom that I'm becoming the African distributor for in South Africa this week, by signing an agreement without giving her R1. And she says, Andre, go help people. No money required. You see, this fixation with the sequence of events being money first. I'm sorry, man, if you're going to talk digital, change that mindset, man. Change it.
Wow, interesting.
Ubuntu is real when you do digital.
Interesting. Thank you for challenging us. Ntsiki, do you want to add? Then
Yes.
can also add.
Thank you. Yes, I really want to add. I've been just burning with this. To say to Andre, you know, this conversation we're having now, we had it with my cousin who was doing construction in rural areas, 2001. We wanted to offer this, take the education with some digital, instruments to those areas. And, I just want to challenge us again. We can't have this conversation as just a conversation, as just a transaction again today. Let it be transformation now. Let's talk with the way forward. It's been years we talk this. Now we're faced with this real situation. As much as I was designing this, digital school, mobile school, taking it there, I was also thinking of the security, because I know our people will break into it and steal whatever they can take and go and sell it for peanuts. Yet I'm bringing this to them. So again, the start for us is the mindset to empower them. Mind is power, so that they will know that this is for you. They should be partners in solving the solution. I agree with Andre. We are not making money. We are bringing the future. We are solving the problem, and we then talk to them, to the mindset, to know that let them have the ownership of this. That is value for them, the money. It's for them to own the products and the solution that is they are being given. And now the access to collaboration, so that we get the funds and grants. There are so many grants for this that we cannot even give back if we are doing the right thing. It's just grants for these kind of solutions. And now to teach that this is your future, the value we're giving to you. Those people will not break into these things. They will not damage them. They will not steal the wires, because they own them. It is part of their future. Thank you.
Interesting, Tiki. Thank you very much. We've got other audiences that wants to be part of the conversation. please feel free just to put on the chat if you want to engage. Tumelo, I saw you had a question or a thought.
Thank you very much, everyone. Good afternoon once again. Andre, you really made a valid point about people not loving this idea of chasing money instead of resources. How do we encourage people to, to shift that idea of chasing money, then to be more, to have that drive of ensuring that they increase their digital skills?
Tumelo, thank you for asking that question. Do you know, I've been searching for answers to answer your question now for the last 3 years. And I came across the answer for the first time at the beginning of last year in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
I met a character out of Toronto, Canada, by the name of Jeff Booth. He wrote a book called The Price of Tomorrow.
Okay.
I highly recommend it. If you don't have a copy of the book, Amanda, send me a WhatsApp. I'll send you the book digitally. It costs me nothing. The minute we digitize resources, they cost nothing. Amanda, Andre Young, 0793418200. Send me a WhatsApp, I'll send you the book. Must I repeat? 0793418200. I'll send you the book. But to answer your question, do you know tomorrow, where we're playing digital, requires a cooperation in the world not precipitated on money. We need collaboration. We need Ubuntu. That's the call to action. Number two, we've got to get rid of this us versus them. This us versus them. That money, the fiat currency system called rands, dollars, yen, pounds, euros, rupees, you know this thing called money? Whatever name you give it, we must throw that thing away. These people, they want money before they want water. I can't understand that. Give me water. If I have water, I'm okay. If I have money and no water, I'm dead, man. We need to be clear that the masters of tomorrow are not the masters with the money today. In digital, the masters of tomorrow is the average citizen, the 7.8 billion of us on the planet. We all become masters of the universe. Not the Oppenheimers, the Ruperts, the Rockefellers, the Bushes, the Trumps. We will become the masters. But here's an important thing. What digital does is that it takes the intelligence of the world and it puts it into the cloud. And the fundamental basis of intelligence is for human beings to correct themselves. We use intelligence to correctly do things differently in the future. And that collective intelligence is now being sold as a big word, artificial intelligence. Amanda, you could get artificial intelligence tomorrow, man, if you had the access to digital. Energy, we must solve energy. We must solve water. Technology and digital says we must think differently. But very importantly, we must change the way the economy works, because the economic principles that were created in the societies of the world leave so many Africans in poverty, in hunger, uneducated. So to answer your question, you asked a very big question, Amanda. We encourage people by bringing them to their power. Amanda! Do you remember that thing?
Amanda.
Do you remember that thing? Do you remember that thing? I know that thing, but I grew up in this country. Amanda! There's my answer to you.
Wait too. I think thank you, Andre, and thank you everyone for joining in. I don't want to overextend this conversation. It's a very important conversation, and truly for me, it has also changed how I view things. The digital can solve most of our problems, if not all. And it is important to look at how then do we use these technologies that we have at hand to solve our African problems, and how do we create new technologies to solve our African problems. We've got a lot of problems. You see, we've been talking about highlighting where are the gaps, where are the issues, education being the biggest of them all, and in this conversation. So I really thank you, Andre. I thank you everyone who has dialed in. Looking forward to another engagement with you in a week or two. I will communicate on our platform, share this video. It will be made available on all my platforms, on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube. And those who have dialed in, I will also send you the recording. Thank you very much and have a beautiful day further. Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye-bye,
you.
everyone.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much.